Hi everybody, Alan Grayjack here with 5 Branches Yoga. And in today's session we're going to have a particular focus on the hips and a version of Sun Salutations A from the Awakening Yoga series. The only props that you might need or want for today's practice are a couple of blocks and perhaps a strap to lengthen your reach in some of these poses. Let's go ahead and get started in a Vajrasana pose, sitting with our shins to the floor, our hips to our heels. And if you'd like, you could go ahead and get a block, perhaps have your strap nearby, and place the block between your ankles, raise your seat up a little bit. If this position doesn't work for you, feel free to sit with your legs crossed or any kind of position that works for you that feels good. Let's take a moment to just get settled in. Find our center. Begin the process of self-awareness by checking in with yourself. Perhaps make a note of how you're feeling today, what your energy is like. With no judgment, just beginning a dialogue with yourself. Begin to bring your awareness to your breath. Eyes can be open or closed. And let's begin today's practice with some Viloma breathing. Inhaling through the mouth, breaking up the inhale into 3 equal parts. The slight pause at the top. And a full exhale out of the mouth. So wherever you are in your breath, go ahead and exhale all of your air. Inhale 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts and hold. Exhale. Inhale 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts all the way to the top. Exhale. Relax your shoulders. Inhale 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts and hold. Exhale. All the way to the bottom. Inhale 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts and hold. Exhale. Inhale 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts and hold. Exhale. Deep inhale all the way to the top. And audible exhale. Let it go. 1 more of those. Inhale all the way up. And audible exhale. Bring your arms to your sides. Shoulders are over your hips. Perhaps take a moment to set an intention for your practice today. Could be anything like, I intend to be kind to myself, intend to work within my means and from my comfort zone. Or it could just be to stay present throughout today's practice. Bring your fingertips to the mat behind you. Slightly pressing down through the tops of your feet. Lift and press your hips forward. Deep inhale. Retract your shoulder blades together. Exhale, lower down. Sweep your arms forward and up. Inhale. Palms together. Exhale, cactus your arms, slowly bringing them down towards your hips. Chest is lifted. And interlace your fingers behind your back. If you can't reach or this is uncomfortable for you for one reason or another, you could go ahead and get a strap to lengthen your reach here. Deep inhale as you reach your knuckles straight down, getting broad across your collarbones. And then extend your arms up behind you. Keeping your hands together, exhale, bring your hands on top of your right hip. Tuck your elbow back a little bit and lower your right ear towards your shoulder. Nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Maybe draw a few circles in the sideways position and reverse. Breathing naturally here. Take some time to explore movement on your own here. Maybe take some full rotations of the head. Remembering to be gentle with yourself. And release the clasp. Sweep your arms up. Deep inhale. Exhale, cactus your arms. And interlace your fingers behind your back once again. Opposite thumb on top this time. Maybe rock your arms from side to side, making a little bit of space for yourself. Deep inhale as you reach straight down, lifting your chest up. And then extend your arms behind you. Exhale, bring your hands on top of your left hip. Tuck your elbow back and lower your left ear towards your shoulder. Breathing naturally, nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Perhaps draw a few circles in one direction and then reverse. Just waking up the neck a little bit here. And then explore some movement on your own here. Work your way back to center. Release the clasp. Bring your fingertips to the mat behind you. Deep inhale. Lift your chest. Lift your hips. Press them forward. Exhale. Lower down. Let's go ahead and move your blocks out of the way. Let's come to an all fours, a tabletop position. Toes can be tucked or untucked. And just begin to rock side to side a little bit here. Beginning to waken up your hands and your wrists. Draw some circles over your wrists with your shoulders in one direction. Maybe you get your spine involved here a little bit. And just sway around. Notice how your hips automatically get involved. And you could accentuate that movement as well if you like. And then reverse direction. Waking up your hands, your wrists, your forearms. Come to center. Slightly sit your hips back just a little bit. Lift all fingers up, spread them wide, lean forward, press all 10 fingers into the mat, really squeezing the mat, waking up the front and backs of the forearms here, and then relax. Your palms can be as close or far away from your knees as you like, as is comfortable. We're going to get started on some cat and cows here. So strong in the arms, pushing the mat away. Deep inhale, lift your chest forward, gaze goes above the horizon, tilt your tailbone towards the sky. So we come into cow pose. Exhale, push the ground away, arch your back, pressing the space between your shoulder blades towards the sky as you tuck your tailbone in. As we come into cat pose. Inhale, pull your chest forward. Exhale, push the ground away as we come into cat pose again. Inhale, come into cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, pull your chest forward. Exhale, push the ground away. Lift your navel. Inhale, pull your chest forward. Exhale, push the ground away. And come to center. Tuck your toes, sit back to your heels. Bring your knees a little closer together if that works for you. Fingertips to the mat. Press all 10 toes slightly into the floor. As you rise up, inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, cactus your arms, navel is lifted. Interlace your fingers over your chest. Hug your rib cage with your elbows. Deep inhale, pressing your chest into your palms. Exhale, push your palms away. Round your back to the space behind you. Lift your navel as we come into upright cat pose. Inhale, rise up. Really reaching through the arms as we come into upright cow. Exhale, round down. Inhale, rise up. 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 Exhale, cactus your arms. Wiggle your fingers as you slowly bring your elbows down towards your hips. Lean forward. Untuck your toes. Plant your hands on the outsides of your thighs, fingertips in line with the knees. Arms are fully extended. Let the head hang heavy. Breathe naturally for a moment here. And although throughout this practice I'll be connecting and guiding breath to movement, please feel free to breathe at your leisure, especially if you're feeling anxious or uncomfortable at any time. Head is hanging heavy, arms are extended. Begin to press the space between your shoulder blades towards the ceiling. Deep inhale. Slightly press all 10 toes down into the ground, and then exhale as you lift your knees towards your chest, coming into flying integration. Chin is tucked, and we're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Shake out your wrists. Make 2 fists. Bring your knuckles together over your heart space. Lean forward. Bring the backs of your hands all the way to the mat. And press the ground away as you hug your elbows in towards one another. really pressing the ground away. We are here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh. Let's go bring our palms to the top of the mat. Step your left leg back. Step your right leg back. High plank. Press your hips back as we come into a downward facing dog. Maybe pedal out your feet some. Or rock your heels from side to side. Come to center. Arms are fully extended. Navel is lifted. Tailbone is tilting towards the sky. Legs don't have to be fully extended, although you are driving your heels towards the ground. They don't have to touch the ground, and your chest is being pressed towards your knees. Remembering to breathe. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, roll forward into high plank, and then bend your knees. Exhale as you press your hips back towards downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, roll forward into high plank. Exhale as you bend your knees and press your hips back towards downward facing dog. One more of those. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, roll forward into a high plank. Exhale, bend your knees, press your hips back towards downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, kick your left heel towards your butt, extend your knee up behind you. Draw several circles in one direction with your knee, little circles, and then reverse. Now inhale, extend your leg behind you. Three-legged dog, look forward as you exhale and step your right foot towards the outside of your right hand. If you'd like to raise your hands up a little bit with some blocks as we come into our Sun Salutations A, that would be fine. Sometimes it just makes all of the actions just a little bit more comfortable and reachable. So lower your left knee if it's not already. Inhale, reach your right hand up to the sky. Imagine you're trying to reach something that's just out of your reach. Exhale, bring your fingertips to the floor. Press the ground away as you come into extended pyramid pose. Your legs do not have to be straight. You're just pressing the ground away and then pressing down into the mat through the back side of the right heel, trying to activate and wake up the hamstrings and the back line of your leg. Head can hang heavy. Inhale as you shift your weight forward, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand, rise up into an active squat. Arms are extended, palms are facing the sky. Lift all 10 toes, press them into the ground as you exhale, pull your hands in towards your heart. Deep inhale, squeeze your glutes, exhale, chest is lifted, abdomen is active. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands come to heart center, bend your knees, bring your palms to the mat, step your left leg back, step your right leg back as you come into high plank, and then press your hips back to the space behind you as you come into downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, kick your left heel towards your butt, extend your knee behind you, draw several circles in one direction, just waking up your hips a little bit, and several circles in the other. Extend your leg, come into a three-legged dog. Inhale, look forward, exhale, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Lower your right knee to the floor. Twist and open to the left as you reach your left hand towards the sky, really as far as you can. And exhale, left hand comes to the mat, fingertips come to the mat. Press the ground away as you extend through your left leg. Exhale. Inhale. Shift your weight forward as you step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Rise up into your active squat. Exhale. Push the ground away. Hands come to heart center. Legs are long and strong. Glutes are squeezed. Inhale. Exhale. Hands come to heart center. Bend your knees. Palms come to the mat. Right leg steps back. Left leg steps back. High plank. And then downward facing dog. Inhale. Lift your heels. Bend your knees. Exhale as you roll forward into high plank. Inhale, bend your knees. Exhale, press your hips back towards downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees. Roll forward into high plank. Next, we're going to do a slow push-up. You could do this with your knees on the ground or just from your high plank. So whatever you're going to do, go ahead and take it. Rise back up. Lower your knees, untuck your toes as you sit your hips towards your heels, towards an extended child's pose. You're looking towards the top of the mat. Inhale as you pull yourself through chaturanga. Chest and chin come to the floor. Exhale. Hips are lifted. Tailbone is kind of tilting towards the sky. Inhale as you pull yourself forward into upward facing dog. Breathe naturally here for a moment, pressing the tops of the feet down into the floor. Gaze is over the horizon. Chest is lifted. Deep inhale. Exhale, lower your knees. Tuck your toes, press your hips back into a downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, extend your right leg back and up as you come into three-legged dog. Look forward, exhale, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. And then step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Inhale, coming up into your active squat. Grip the ground with L10 toes. Exhale, rise up. Inhale, reach your hands towards the sky. Get a small little back bend in here. Exhale, hands to heart center. Bend your knees, palms come to the mat. Left leg steps back. Right leg steps back. Slow push up. Lower your knees, untuck your toes, come through child's pose. Inhale as you come through your chaturanga. As you press your hips forward and pull your chest up into upward facing dog. Exhale, lower your knees, tuck your toes, press your hips back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift heels, bend knees. Extend your left leg back and up as you come into three-legged dog. Gripping the mat with your right toes, keeping that active. As you exhale, look forward, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand, followed by your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Inhale, come into active squat. Exhale, push the ground away as you come into your mountain pose, hands to the chest. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Come through your active squat. Palms come to the mat. Right leg steps back. Left leg steps back. Slow push up. Drop your knees, untuck your toes. Child's pose. Chaturanga. Inhale. Sweep your body up into upward facing dog. Exhale. Lower your knees. Press your hips back towards your downward facing dog. Inhale. Lift your heels. Bend your knees. Right leg, three-legged dog. Look forward as you exhale. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Inhale. Active squat. Exhale. Hands to heart center as you rise up. Squeezing your glutes. Inhale. Reach up. Exhale. Hands come to heart center. Through active squat. Palms come to the mat. Left leg steps back. Right leg steps back. Slow push up. Come through child's pose to chaturanga. This little ditty is our vinyasa. Lower your knees, tuck your toes. Press your hips back towards child's pose. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees. Left leg swings back to three-legged dog. Look forward. Exhale as you step your left hand to the outside, left foot to the outside of your left hand. Right foot follows. Rise up. And then push the ground away, hands to heart center as you exhale. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Lower down through your active squat. And step your left leg back. Step your right leg back. Slow push up. Lower your knees. Come through your child's pose. Inhale as you come through chaturanga and into upward facing dog. And then back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees. This is our last round. Right foot comes into right three-legged dog. Look forward, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand, following by your left to the outside of your left hand. Rise up, inhale, active squat. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Through your active squat, palms come to the mat. Left leg steps back. Right leg steps back. Slow push up. Child's pose. Pull yourself through chaturanga, inhaling. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees. Left foot steps back and swings up into three-legged dog. Look forward, exhale, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Inhale, active squat. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Bend your knees. Palms come to the mat. Step your right leg back. Step your left leg back. Take your slow push up and vinyasa. Lower your knees. Lower your elbows. Inhale, come through. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. And then downward facing dog. Get a little bit comfortable here. Find some sense of peace in this pose. Arms are fully extended. Head is hanging heavy. Navel is lifted. Tailbone is tilted. Knees can be slightly bent, driving your heels towards the floor. Breathing deep. Observing your mind here. Taking note of all the heat and energy that we just built up in our bodies. That was our Sun Salutations A, Awakening Yoga style. Inhale, lift your right foot towards the sky as we come through three-legged dog. Shift your weight forward into a three-legged plank. And then bring your right foot towards your left wrist. You lower your knee towards the floor as we come into a prone pigeon position. Right foot is flexed. Lower your left knee. Untuck your toes. Maybe adjust yourself as much as you need here as we come into our prone pigeon pose. My hips are relatively tight, so this isn't when I can get that low in, but feel free to drop in as much as you can. Just make sure you're not feeling any sensation or pain in your knee. This is more about your hips. So if you are feeling pain in your knee, maybe bring your right heel closer in towards your hips. Maybe walk the left side of your hips back just a little bit more, lowering your right hip down. Stay there if you like, or you can come down onto your elbows, or even bring your chest all the way to the floor if that works for you. Breathing naturally here. Find some moments of peace. And then when you're ready, bring your palms back to the mat. Tuck your back toes. Extend your left leg, lifting your knee off the ground. And then bring your right knee towards your chest. Extend your leg coming through a three-legged dog. And then back down to a downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, roll forward into high plank. And then exhale, bend your knees, tilt your tailbone towards the sky, and press your hips back towards downward facing dog. Inhale, extend your left leg out behind you, kicking your heel towards the sky, coming through three-legged dog. Look forward. Exhale as you bring your left foot towards your right wrist. Foot stays flexed, and bend your right knee to the floor. Lower your left knee to the mat, and then adjust yourself as needed for comfort. Maybe you need to bring your heel in closer or out towards a 90-degree angle. Find something that works for you here to where you're not feeling any pain in your knee. Maybe walk your right leg back just a little bit more to settle down into this pose. You can stay upright here with your chest lifted forward, or you can lower down onto your elbows, or all the way to the floor, whatever works for you. And just relax as much as you can in this pose. I know it's easier for some and harder for others. Maybe explore how you can press into or pull away from any sensations in your hips. to make them more or less intense. Remembering to breathe. Tuck your right toes. Lift your right knee off the floor. Bring your palms back to the mat. Lift your chest forward as you pull your knee in towards your chest, and then extend your left leg towards three-legged dog. And then back down to the mat for downward facing dog. Breathing deep, breathing steady. And let's walk our feet towards the top of the mat. Step your feet wide. Lower down through a squat. Your heels can come off the ground if you need. And if you need, bring your fingertips to the mat behind you as you lower down onto your butt. Stretch your legs long. Take a deep inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, lean forward. Grab your feet for a nice little forward fold. If you can't grab your feet, grab your shins or your calves. Keep your back long and strong, lifting through the chest. Kind of think cow pose here, pulling your shoulders back. Tilting your tailbone to the space behind you. And trying to keep that feeling in your lower back. The next time you exhale, just relax and round down, round the rest of your back. Relax and melt over your legs. Let your head hang heavy. Breathing deep. And then let's come down onto our backs. Stretch your bodies long. Deep inhale. And audible exhale. Maybe roll your wrists out some here. Bring your heels towards your butt. Soles of the feet to the mat. Arms are at a capital T. And just lower your knees towards the left side of the room, breathing naturally here. Getting a nice little twist in. Your gaze goes over the right shoulder. Breathing into the right side of the rib cage. And just find a moment of peace here. Come back to center. Lower your knees to the right. Gaze goes over the left shoulder. And just relax into this space. And then come to center. Step your knees, your feet wide. Lower your knees to the left. And then pick them up and lower them to the right. Windshield wipering them back and forth. Just a few times. Come to center. Pull your knees in towards your chest. Pull your chin in towards your knees. And then bring your head back to the ground. Draw several circles with your knees in one direction if that feels okay on your lower back. And then several circles in the opposite direction. Bring the soles of your feet back to the floor. And I guess let's do some happy baby really quick. Bring your knees towards your chest. Reach towards the ceiling. Get a hold of the backs of your thighs. Spread your knees wide. And you can stay here if you like. Soles of the feet kind of facing the sky. Or you can reach your hands up to the backs of your shins, your calves. Or you could reach up to the soles of your feet. Just taking a moment here. And stay here as long as you like. When you're ready, bring the soles of your feet to the mat, hips by your heels. Arms are by your sides. Palms are facing down. Lift your sacrum up and then tilt it down. Press it into the ground, raising the lower curve of your back. Relax your shoulders. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, press your hips towards the sky. Squeezing your glutes. Lifting your, or pulling your navel in. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, press your hips up. Press all 10 toes into the ground. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, press your hips up. Really try to drag your heels towards your butt, kind of pressing your knees forward as you press your hips even higher. And lower down. If there's any props that you'd like to make yourself more comfortable for our final rest, then feel free to gather them up. And whenever you're ready, meet me on your back in a supine position. Feet are wide towards the edges of the mat. Arms are extended at about 45-degree angle. Palms are facing up. And get as comfortable as you can. As always, if you need to modify, adjust, or completely rearrange your position so that you could find comfort, then please be my guest, be your guest, and allow your mind and your body to settle, allow your body to recalibrate, to readjust. And catch its breath. Maybe bring your awareness to your breath or to your heartbeat, to the temperature and sensations of the room. Really bringing your attention to this moment is key. If you find your mind drifting or wandering around, just bring it back to the present moment. As always, stay here as long as you like, and whenever you're ready, begin to bring some attention, some awareness back into your body. Maybe start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Begin to lengthen your breath. Maybe start to roll out your ankles and toes. Wrists. And when you're ready, make your way to a seated position. Take one last moment here to find a moment of peace, to find your center. Take a deep inhale in, sweep your arms up, palms together. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Give yourself a bow. Give thanks to yourself for showing up for this practice today, for taking care of your mind and your body. Give thanks for this space and this time to practice in our lives today. As always, thank you guys so much for joining me for this practice today. It is a true honor to be working with you toward greater health and greater peace of mind. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing from here, I wish you the best. Namaste.